Overwhelmingly, the voters think that they should get to decide this issue, not the politicians. Strong opposition to tax increases. Folks that had campaigned on a anti-tax, no tax increase pledge that would break that pledge would have to expect repercussions in their districts when they go back home to voters. They plan to hold them accountable. Strong majority of Alabamians support the Marsh Plan, and a majority of voters reject the tribal plan that's been put forward and clearly, very clearly prefer the Marsh Plan over that. If we look into some of the other demographics that often drive debates like this and people are often interested in, we ask people church attendance question to get a sense of religiosity in the state. 62% of people that describe themselves as frequent churchgoers that go almost every week or more often say that they would support the Marsh Plan. 64% of people that tell us they support the Tea Party would be in support of that plan. Voters, when presented in the same way with the Indian tribe proposal, reject that. 39% say that they would support it. 57% say they would not support that. And when we look at that, it's easily rejected by Republicans and Independents. Democrat voters actually are okay with that plan as presented as an option. 53% to 45%, they would narrowly approve that. But when we put the two head-to-head and ask voters which would they prefer the Marsh Plan, or would they prefer, and again, we didn't call it these things, would they prefer the constitutional amendment, or would they prefer the tribal solution? Pretty astounding numbers. 77% say that they would prefer the amendment that's being proposed over the tribal deal. And then the strongest number of any in the survey, and probably, frankly, one of the strongest numbers we've ever seen in any survey on a question of any import, is who should decide this. Only 8% of voters say that they think that the politicians should decide this. This is something the governor and the legislature should do. 89% feel that voters should get a vote on this. And those numbers are pretty consistent, almost within a point or two, no matter what you think of the proposal, what you think of the expansion of gaming, how you feel about the lottery, or anything else. All the numbers are in the 80s of people that want to see a vote on this issue.
It will not solve this year's budget problem. But I do believe, and I think we all would agree, that if you had this in place, it will contribute and solve future budget problems. I think we've got to grow our economy. And when you do that, you try to encourage businesses to come to this state, the auto industry, medical industry, aerospace. We've done all those things. Well, gaming is just another industry. That's already here in the state. I would hope that when we get those budgets passed, if there's time, I would like to bring up this legislation for discussion in the body and hopefully get out to a vote of the people. That's what I would like to see, and let the people decide this issue. I don't think you can go wrong there. If it's going to be here, let's control it closely with a good, strong gaming commission. Let's make sure it's not everywhere. The bill specifically says in the 4 existing sites in the Indian casinos, it encourages the governor to enter into a compact. And hey, I've got no pride in ownership. If legislators want to amend this legislation, think it'd be stronger, make changes, fine. But I just want to, I'd love to have the discussion on the floor.